Welcome, my midlife friends. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm beginning lots and lots of interesting emails and replies about some confusion in midlife. So I want to talk about that today. Would love for you to subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for following me and supporting me and trying to help you at this time in our lives, 40s, 50s, 60s. It can be wonderful. It can be kind of scary. And there's a lot of different emotions going on. And I know because I am with you in there. I'm with you in it. So I would love for you to take a look at some of the other videos and see if they can help you. You can always reach out to me if you want to, but I would love for you to subscribe to the channel today if you haven't before. And if you like a video, please hit like. It really helps me know what kinds of things that maybe we should be talking about, we should be discussing. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, so I want to talk about 5 things that you can do to to really help you in your 50s. And it could be your 40s, it could be your 60s. I kind of look at midlife like the beginning is our 40s, and a lot of us are even still struggling in our 60s. So I kind of look at talking to a lot of women between 40 and 60, and that seems to be a really interesting place for a lot of us and what's going on in our lives. So what are some things that we could do to make this time in our life better? Um, I think the first thing is it doesn't matter what age you are, quite honestly. It's just to become really aware of what's going on in your life. Sometimes we are so caught up in the day to day. Maybe you still have children at home and you're dropping them off and picking them up, and your job is super demanding. You're not feeling it anymore, so there's some anxiety around that. And so much of the time, we are just kind of going through the motions, kind of going through day to day to day, waking up, and then we just kind of see, oh my gosh, this is a whole nother day. It's like Groundhog Day, right? The movie. And we want something else, but we're really not sure how to move into that space. I think one of the most important things we can do is just become aware of how you're feeling. You know, I really feel sad a lot. I really feel unhappy a lot. Some of us kind of push our emotions down, or maybe we have someone in our life, whether it's a spouse or a partner, and they kind of push our emotions down. And so, one of the first things we can do is just become very aware of where we are. That's so key. And then I think the next thing is really, what do we want? How could we have our best life? What are those 2 or 3 things that we're really looking for? Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but let's just start with today. What are those things that are missing that you really, really are certain about that you want in your life? And that's how we start thinking about, how do we have the best life? How do we have the best life? How does our life just feel really good every day? Like, we have our challenges, we have our struggles, we're dealing with, people and jobs and kids, and most of us are dealing with older parents. What does that mean to have our best life? And how do we define that? I think a big part of that is just start thinking about the things that you know you don't want in your life and the things that you do want. I've told my kids, a lot of you know I have 6 kids and 7 grandkids, and yeah, I get super busy in my life. But raising them, a lot of times I've told them, a lot of times we can figure out what we don't want before we can figure out what we do want. So if you're in a deadbeat job and you hate it and you want out of it, and maybe that's one of the things you want to list for your best life. I want a different job. Or maybe you want to start a business. I started a business in my 60s, and it's fun. It's exciting. It's better than going to a deadbeat job every day that you hate, or you don't like, or your boss, or it's this, or it's that. I get all of that. I've certainly been through all of that. So that's how you start kind of thinking about your best life. And what does that look like, smell like, taste like? It definitely is not my job. Maybe it's definitely not your partner. Maybe it's definitely not a couple of the friendships that you're struggling with and you're dealing with. Or maybe it's a family member that you need better boundaries around to have a better life. So if you start thinking about some of the things that are frustrating you and you don't particularly like, that's going to help point you to having that better life that you're looking for. And the other thing I want to suggest is as you're moving into your 50s and onward, don't give up your power. Well, what the heck does that mean? It means that when we're in our 20s and 30s, we are feeling pretty dang snappy, okay? We are feeling like we have life, we know where we're going, we know what we're doing. And sometimes as we get older, we lose some of our enthusiasm or we feel burnt out. So many women say, "Oh my gosh, I'm in my 50s, but I'm so burnt out." I get that, the stress, the anxiety, trying to manage everything. I've said many times I'm managing more now than I was when my children were all at home, because the picture of my life just keeps getting bigger, right? Creating a business, taking care of elderly parents, not only children, now grandchildren, who want to see me and want to be with me. So it just keeps getting bigger, and that's okay. I just have to stop a little bit more and think about things a little bit more. So many times in our 50s and onward, we start giving away our power. And what I mean by that is we start letting other people make decisions for us. We start letting other people influence us. We start letting other people, whether it's your partner, your friends, your family, start making choices for you. And you start going, yeah, I guess that's okay. Well, it's not okay for other people to make decisions for you. It's not okay to give your power away to other people. So, really hang on to your power. And your power is your values, your core values, what you think, what you believe, what you need, what you want. That's all part of your power. And you've got to hang on to that as you're getting a little bit older because it's easily to go, yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah, okay, whatever. We can do this, we can do that. Oh, my hair is sticking out. So, anyway, we do not want to give away our power. The second thing is um, we have to make sure that we don't let obstacles actually stop us. Sometimes when we get a little bit older or we get a little bit more laid back, or maybe we don't have the same fight in us that we had when we were in our 30s or our 40s. And it's so key to realize that we are going to have the same obstacles we had. Turning 40 or 50 or 60 isn't that much different than turning other ages. There are different things that we have to deal with, but it's still change. Everything is about change. Life is about change. And it's kind of funny when people say to me, "Well, I don't like change." And I'm like, everything in life is about change. It's about moving, it's about having children, it's about watching them change and then grow up. So everything is about change. You have to be willing to embrace it and deal with it and know that everything about life is about change. So one of the things you could really think about as far as obstacles and blocks and things that are keeping you from what you want, what are the things that are frustrating you right now in your life? This is a really good exercise. What's frustrating you personally? What's frustrating you about your career or your business? And what is frustrating you about your relationships? And I would even suggest get a piece of paper. If you're a journal person, journaling, I have a whole spiel that I do on journaling videos and podcasts. Journaling is really important to really think about how you feel about things and be honest with yourself. So, one of the things that's really important is what's frustrating you right now? What's not working for you? Those are some really good things to get your head around and some really good things to think about. I think the other thing that's incredibly important is it's really important not to let your emotions run amok right now. And they certainly will run amok. As I have said many, many times, our emotions aren't necessarily our friends, right? Our thoughts are not necessarily our friends. There are days you can just wake up in the morning and be like, everything is wrong, right? I don't like my weight. I don't like my hair. I don't like this. I don't like that. And for me, when I get in those moods, I have to really fight those moods because for me, they can really get into this downward spiral of that really can go fairly quickly right into depression. And depression is so much harder to climb out of than just negative thoughts. So be willing to do things like, these things, positive affirmations, be willing to um, fight a lot of the negative thoughts that are going to pop into your head. And be willing to know just because you have that thought, it doesn't mean it's true. Just because you have a thought that comes into your mind or comes into your head doesn't mean it's true. It's just a thought. Maybe it was based on a fear of I'm not enough, which is an emotion, and that triggered that thought. So watch your thoughts very carefully. I love that old saying, the glass is either half empty or half full. And that really is based on our perspective. And I have women tell me, well, I can't really change that. But you can change your perspective. You can wake up and be angry, or you can try to talk yourself into not being angry. You can wake up and be sad. You can wake up and be frustrated in the morning. And all of this is something we have control over. And I'm sorry, but that is definitely a fact. You do have control over your emotions. You do have control over your thoughts. And if you have talked yourself into the fact that you don't, that simply is not true. And I know this because I was in a really bad place in midlife and I was having a lot of really negative emotions. I don't like this and I don't like that. I had to push myself every day to start thinking positive thoughts. Yes, you're still smart. Yes, you're still pretty. No, you're not invisible. Seriously, these are the kind of things that we have to push back and fight back. And so be willing to know if you're in a place where you are struggling with a lot of negativity and a lot of negative thoughts, you can combat that. You can come after that both fists a-blazing. And some of us need to do that. I really had to do that. I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, whom I love, love, love. He's so helpful in helping you reframe your mindset and reframe your thoughts into gratitude and positive thoughts and what is going on in my life that I love and how do I want to change the things that I don't really love. So I think the last thing is be willing, don't be afraid to take control of your life. If you feel like your life is out of control, spinning, it could be out of control like the car with no brakes, or it could be you feel like out of control like you're stuck and you just can't get out of that spot. And that's not a good feeling. And I know because I felt very stuck. And there were times I felt like my life was kind of out of control too. More emotionally, I felt like, oh my gosh, these emotions are like, woo, out of control. I need to reel this stuff in. I need to reel it in. It's not good. Um, and sometimes it's just feeling stuck and feeling really icky, 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 and so many things that you just don't feel good about. Here's the thing. I always feel better when I have a plan of action. And it doesn't matter whether it's a daily plan or a weekly plan. Sometimes it can even be as important as where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years? What do you want your days to look like? Less anxiety, less frustration, less burnout. Those are all things that you can start thinking about and planning. Because I know for me, without a plan, I feel miserable. I'm one of those people where I like borders on the page. I like what I'm doing one day to the next. Now, I love being in my 60s because I have a lot more freedom now. I'm not running kids back and forth to school. And so I do have a plan for my life. I do have a weekly plan, a daily plan, a monthly plan, but I do take advantage of all of my freedoms. So I'm not saying a plan like, at 11 o'clock, I'm going to do this. I'm not saying that kind of a plan, not that literal. I'm saying a plan of how you can be where you want to be, whether it is taking a class, starting a business. Do you have a big idea? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to start a blog? Do you want to help more people? For me, it was I wanted to help a lot of women that were coming to me with angst and grief and all kinds of things. And so that's why I went in the direction that I went into. But I had a plan. So many of us, and I love that saying, um, a person without a vision is a person that could perish. So without dreams and goals and plans, we're just sort of like the leaf, right? Right now it's fall in the United States, and I'm constantly just watching the leaves move all over my yard and my property, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. But I don't want to be a leaf. I don't want to be blowing in the wind. I don't want to have I don't want to have a life that has no direction and no plan. So I don't know if that might make you feel better, but it always makes me feel better to have a plan. So we always have to focus on what we have control over. There are things you do not have control over. If you're 5'1", you do not have control over that. You're either going to be 5'1" or you're going to wear some really big heels. Not to put 5'1" anymore. There are some things in our life, maybe you have to live in a certain place right now. You don't have control over that right now. But what's going on in your life does not have to define you. Okay, that's really important. If you have no money right now and you are trying to make it from week to week, that doesn't have to define your dreams, your goals, your plan. You can still have a plan to start your own business. You can still have a plan to get out of. Maybe you're in a financial hole and you're in a lot of debt. You can always have a plan to get out of where you are and to go from point A to point B. There's always something that you can do. So I just want to encourage you to think about those 5 things and how could they possibly help you, even if you just think about one or maybe you think about all of them. So become aware and decide what you want for your best life. Become aware of what's going around you and what's going on with you. So many times we just focus on everybody else and we don't focus on us. That's bad. Don't do that. That's not going to give you your best life. Your best life is going to be you in the center, your self care, your self love. Don't let go of your power. Don't let go of your dreams and what you want. Don't let obstacles block you, whether they're little or they're big. Just remember, you have to go through them. You can go over them or under them, but they're going to stay there. You're going to have to deal with the obstacles and the things that are frustrating you about your life. Make sure that you let go of the emotions that are holding you down, the thoughts and the emotions, whether you have to journal or meditate or whatever it is you need to do to become aware about a lot of the lies that we tell ourselves. I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. Remember, our brains are not always our best friend. And the last one is take control of your life. You are the driver. It's your car. Take control. If you're not in control of your own life, I'm sorry, it's your fault. You need to change that and have a plan. Make sure that you have a plan of where you want to go or start working on a plan. That's so important. And if there's any way I can help you, that is what I do. If you are stuck or you need a mentor, you can go to my website, www.loveyourmidlife.com, book a 30-minute call, and we can help you come up with a plan. Whether it involves me or not, it doesn't matter. But you will feel immediately better if you have a plan. So I hope I can help you with that. If not, turn to a friend, turn to your mate or your spouse or your partner, or maybe even one of your adult children, and start coming up with a plan for your life. We all feel better if we have a map in front of us and we kind of feel like we know where we're going versus getting in the car and going, I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea where I'm going to stay tonight. Some people love that excitement of that. I personally do not. I do not like that. That makes me feel horrible, quite honestly. So I hope you'll remember those 5 tips for your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. You can always reach out to me. You can always email me. You can find me on my website, Love Your Midlife. There are free downloads, all kinds of goodies there. So I hope that that helps you, and I hope that I see you soon. Bye, loves.